What's going on, folks? This is Balaji with Brave Young Heroes, and we're bringing you an incredible session in the Raising Resilient Kids Summit. He is an award-winning social skills educator. This man speaks all over the world, 2,500 speeches worldwide, including the 2019 Global School Assembly. Who does that? His viral videos have been translated into 20 languages, and he's had over 200 million views. Talking about anti-bullying, this man specializes in teaching youth, and maybe some of us grown-ups too, how to be emotionally resilient. I love that. I want you guys to give it up for the incredible Hulk of social skills, Mr. Brooks Gibbs. Welcome, Brooks.
Thank you, Balaji. You know, I admire you. I admire your work, what you're doing, and it's an honor to be with you, buddy. Well done.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, sir. We appreciate you being here. We're going to jump right into it because I can't wait to share some of the stuff that you've been teaching our kids all over the world. Now, just so people can get to know you, Brooks, what motivated you to get to talking to schools and kids about anti-bullying?
Well, I think like all of us, you know, I have memories in my childhood of being relentlessly teased and taught. I was hyper insecure about my height, my slowness. I had a stutter that was really bad. And so those memories are very vivid to me. So I think there's a deep desire to help others not suffer like I did. But that wasn't what drove me to do what I do. I happened to live in Littleton, Columbine, Colorado, which is where the Columbine High School shooting happened.
Wow.
And in the aftermath of the shooting, I was there, and several of my friends went to that school. And so that was the birthplace of the anti-bullying movement. I was, I think, 18 years old, a senior in high school. Yeah, I graduated class of 99, so I was 18. And that just really provided a direction for my life. Like, hey, there are a lot of victims that commit suicide, and there's a lot of victims that commit homicide. The worst acts of these violence are committed by victims. So if we victim-proof kids, we might bring a more peaceful world. And man, you know, I never had homicidal thoughts during my years of suffering, but I did have suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
And while there are different types of people for sure that kill themselves or kill others, that victim mindset is the one string that runs through both mentalities. And if we could help victim-proof and teach people, you know what, it's advantageous for you to go through challenges. You know, this is not the worst thing that's ever happened to you. It's not going to matter forever. This problem's not forever. And actually, you could see the good in the bad if you focus on the good and develop that optimistic mindset. So I've dedicated my life to really helping children no longer feel like victims. And it's been a very rewarding career. November, this year is 20 years now that I've been doing this professionally.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, for us parents, the Columbine shooting is, I think, burned into our memories. It's so tragic that we've continued to see echoes of these kind of incidents. So it's encouraging that we have people like yourself on the front lines helping these kids victim-proof themselves. I haven't heard very often, Brooks, people characterize the victims of sometimes school violence and the perpetrators of school violence in the same light, but you essentially see them as both being two sides of the same coin. They both have a victim sense of self.
Yeah, because if you interview someone who's suicidal, they have anger, they have hatred, they have a desire for revenge.
Wow.
They want to stop their suffering.
Yes.
And either that's by taking out the one that's causing suffering, or just piecing out. And there's some parametrics, I think we could call it, as you psychoanalyze the two. Now, some people might be offended by that because we demonize perpetrators. But you talk to the perpetrator's parents, and they see it like I see it. They see that their child was very much had a victim mentality.
Wow.
And was crushed by this mindset and was tormented day in and day out. They have a reason. Now, there's mental health, of course. There's antisocial behavior. There's what used to be called sociopathy. but now it's called antisocial behavior. But all of those, even those neuroses, are driven by a victim mentality. According to rational motive behavioral therapy, these people say, I must do well, and I must, receive approval from important people, and you must not frustrate me, and you must not block my goals, or give me grief, and life must give me what I want, and it must be comfortable, or it is unbearable. And those 6 psychological expectations are in both the victim and the perpetrator. So we don't really have a perpetrator problem. We have a victim problem. And in schools, we don't have a bully problem. We have a victim problem. Because if you ask a kid, why did you do that to her? They'll almost always say, because she said this to me, or because he did that to me, or they have the fear of being inferior, and just the potential victimization drives them to be aggressive. So yeah, I'm at the heart of it, and I'm not changing.
Wow. This is fascinating. And it's interesting because I have a couple of sons. For those of us who are parents, we sometimes are fascinated by the fact that our kids have different personalities. My older son, who is 12, is a bit more like myself, more introverted, more reserved. And he's the one who usually will not instigate aggression, but he wants everything to be, peaceable. And I can see opportunities for him to build his resilience in terms of, if he becomes the brunt of a joke, how does he handle that? My younger son, who is 9, social butterfly, but very quick temper. And so, no one's going to be picking on him very long. Or I should say, they might pick on him. He will have a strong reaction. But from what I've learned in your teachings, Brooks, sometimes things don't end there. So the ability to actually stand up for yourself in an assertive way sometimes does not stop the aggressive behavior. Could you talk a little bit about your history, Brooks? You weren't one to sort of lay back when people picked on you. It sounds like you had a sharp temper as well.
Yeah, I did. But I also suffered silently many times because I couldn't fight anybody. I mean, I wasn't.
Because you were small.
I envied the Hulk, all his muscles. That dude can just crush anyone. Like even the Iron Man has a hard time trying to beat his head.
That's right.
So while I really did wish I had muscles, I remember watching this group come through our town called the Power Team, and they were like ex-football players and everything, and they would fit iron bars with their neck, and they'd break bricks with their head, and they would run through ice and stuff and lay on a bed of nails. And I remember taking a picture one time, holding my arm up like this next to a Power Team guy that was holding me. I was looking at my muscle, thinking, "Where is it? Where is it?" So sorry about the noise. I'm at a cafe, by the way.
No, you're good.
But yeah, man, I'll show you just so if you're curious.
I love it. I love it.
On the lawn.
Hey, listen, this is a display of resilience right here, because Brooks was supposed to be in his office. Things didn't go as planned, but we're rolling with it anyway. We're doing it live.
And really, that really is important. The ability to be flexible and have high frustration tolerance. That's what we really want to measure with kids. If they have low frustration tolerance and they're easily angered, easily annoyed, easily irritable, easily upset, and that would just irk them, this noise right here by this guy. Yes. But if you're resilient, you say, you know what, he's doing his job.
Right.
I'm thrilled that guy has money. And maybe in post we can take some of it out. I doubt it. But we need to have high frustration tolerance. I was on an airplane one time, and this guy bumped me because I like aisle seats. And I just immediately, a hair trigger, kind of got irritable. And I looked up and I saw the dude was blind.
Wow.
And everything changed for me. I was like, whoa, context. I'm not as upset anymore. It's not irking. I actually want to help him. Wow. And I realized what a jerk I was. And that's what cognitive behavioral therapy, or rational motive behavioral therapy, has done over the last 70 years. It showed us how our thinking really does determine our feelings. And if we change our thinking, our irritabilities vaporize. If we can gain context and see positively how this is actually good that this has happened, there's an upside to every letdown. You can discipline your brain in that way. And I didn't have that growing up young. But as I got older, I realized if I want to maintain my happiness, I need to get a hold of my thought processes. And I love doing this. And I guess what makes me unique as an educator is I find fun ways to teach children how to be resilient to the most common irritabilities, whether it's name calling, social exclusion, gossip and rumors, or physical provocation. Under those 4 categories of aggression, we can build up our resilience to each so that nothing really can frustrate us or get us irritable.
That's really good. And it's so funny because I think some of this stuff actually applies to us adults as well. So I'm going to want parents pay attention, because while you're trying to fix your child, some of this stuff might actually help you build up your frustration tolerance. There's something, Brooks, you have created called a resilience test. It's a series of 10 questions that I'd love to get into. But before we do that, Brooks, I want to ask the question, sometimes either our kids are on the receiving end or they're instigating mean behavior in the first place. And I'd love your perspective on why are we sometimes mean to each other? Sometimes it's not provocated. Why are people mean?
Well, there's 3 reasons why people are mean. Either they're trying to be funny at your expense. All jokes are at someone's expense. All humor has to have a punchline and a target for that punchline. So sometimes they're just trying to be funny. They're not intentionally trying to wound you. You just happen to be the target or the butt of the joke. But the second reason why someone's mean to you is because they're hurt by you. Something you did or said, they feel victimized by, and so they're looking for an apology, or at least seeing you punished, bringing justice. Children with high sense of justice,
yes.
It's actually a wonderful characteristic, constantly feel wronged,
yes.
and therefore their volatility is extremely high.
Wow.
And so you have to teach people, you know, like if they're living with a brother or sister, say, you know, apologies are very important to him or her, and the most teaching other people to genuinely apologize. But the third and final reason, especially with sibling rivalry, which is kind of what you're speaking of, there's one who loves to bother and another one who's easily bothered, and that's dominance behavior. That's classic sociological dominance behavior, meaning I want to have power over you, power to hurt your feelings, power to make you angry, power to upset you. And if I can say this word or tap on this shoulder or withhold your math book from you and play keep away, and it's just driving you crazy, then I have psychological power over you and I'm dominating you. And this is really, and all 3 are actually in the animal kingdom. Dominance is the easiest to see in the animal kingdom. The Hakuna Matata, wait, that's like, what a wonderful phrase. That's no worries. Mufasa, you know, the dominance play to lead the tribe is always there. And so trying to find ways to frustrate or take over is just innately, it's actually a form of leadership. If you have a child who enjoys bothering, he's probably a leader.
Wow.
And you really need to put your arm around them and say, man, I love how you have everyone scared. I love how you have control. I love how you have developed this ability to control and manipulate and coerce everyone in this house. But this is such a negative form of developing your strength. You know, that's an animalistic form. That's what gorillas do. They beat each other up so everyone else is scared of them, or they withhold resources to negotiate better terms. And I said, you don't want to do that. A leader really needs to learn how to serve and help others reach their zenith potential. And when you invest in people and you're kind to people, you'll actually get their loyalty. And that form of leadership through service and love comes with social insurance, meaning if you're ever attacked, the people you've served on your way up will defend you. But if you dominate through carrot and stick rather than, you know, service and love, but then they're going to watch you fall and fail. And they're going to help develop the coup so that you're away from your position. So it's really seeing the leadership in a child, seeing the sense of justice in the child, and seeing the comedian in the child.
Wow.
Dude, I love that you're funny. I love that you love to laugh. And the greatest, safest form of humor is self-effacing humor, when you make fun of yourself. And by the way, the #1 goal of a comedian is that his audience, what?
Laughs.
And so if your audience is crying, you failed, bro. You need to work on your comedian skills and save your precious jokes for audience who can appreciate them. So, you know, don't look at aggression as, oh my gosh, my child's a sociopath. Look at aggression as, no, there's just poor developed strengths here that we need to identify. And the people that are on the losing end of the aggression need to build up their resilience to humor, their resilience to victimization, so they can apologize to highly volatile people who always are looking for apology, and their resilience to deal with narcissism.